Video and
got me rolling.
the video. That was bad. We did a bad job. Okay, chat room, thanks for hanging in there. Sorry about the delay. We're starting it right now. Begins in 3, 2, 1.
I have
Current Geek.
Aha.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Current Geek. These are the weekly proceedings of the meetings of the Frog Pants All-Stars, Geeks of the World, and you to keep you to keep you current on things that matter most. I'm Scott Johnson. That's Tom Merritt.
Hello.
Hi.
Scott Johnson.
How in the heck are you?
I'm so good.
Really?
I'm hyped up for the weekend and excited for Current Geek.
Are you going to do... What are you going to do this weekend that counts as geeky? You going to see that Ant-Man movie?
I'm going to see that Ant-Man movie.
I'm
going to go to an aquarium with Randy Deluxe. I'm going to meet my friend Cindy for fish.
Wow.
That's what I'm doing this weekend.
Wow.
Literally, those are 3 things I'm doing this
That's amazing. You really going to an aquarium?
Yeah. I think we're going to go to the Long Beach Aquarium.
All right. That's pretty good. You know, that's where he lives. He's in his own aquarium there, Randy is.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, no wonder. So it's an easy drive for him.
Yeah, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Meet me in the lobby, basically, is how that works. We have a guest today, like we always do, and he's a returning guest. He's a good friend, a dear friend of the program, been around forever. One of the first people I ever podcasted with. You know him, you love him, Mr. Brian Dunaway. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Scott.
How are you, man?
Take me out to the lobby. Is that how that goes?
Yeah.
All right, sure, why not?
Did you ever, let me ask you a question about that. When you were growing up, or even now, when you hear one of those jingles about go buy popcorn and candy and stuff, have you ever gone, you know, it's right, that thing's right, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go do it? Did you ever respond in a prompt way to the promptings to go out to the lobby and buy some junk?
No, I am a very big stickler on showing up early to the movie, getting your snacks. So every time I hear the jingle, I just throw a little more popcorn in my face.
Seems like a plan to me. I'm
all about being prepared for the movies. I got to be prepared for Ant-Man.
Yeah, you gonna see that? You can see the Ant-Man?
Of course I'm going to see the Ant-Man.
Right.
I don't know how, though. I'm curious to see what kind of microscopic 3D glasses I'll need to wear.
Well, here's the deal. My understanding is they make them real small, and that's pretty much it. That's your movie.
It's kind of a one-trick pony, the Ant-Man.
I'm Ant-Man.
A little bit.
I'm Ant-Man. I'm little, and then I get big.
But he has the strength proportional to an ant.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
When he's itty-bitty, but not when he's big.
Well, he has the strength of a man at the size of an ant.
Right?
He has the strength of a Paul Rudd at middle age.
I rode in an elevator with Paul Rudd once.
Oh, really? And how did that go?
It went very well, thank you.
Because I know you don't like elevators much. You're not
and
a fan.
I don't like to drop elevator riding names.
No.
I was there with Natalie Del Conte / now Morris.
Yeah, Natalie Morris.
And Paul Rudd. And we looked up and we were like, huh, that's Paul Rudd. Yeah. He was very nice.
Did you say
hi?
Did you say, man, it sure is one hot, crazy summer this summer? Did you say that to him?
Wet.
Oh, wet.
Wet.
Dang it.
Oh, my God, you're going to get us killed.
I know. I got to be careful with that movie. All right. Well, you guys know the drill. You know the game.
A moist, crazy summer.
Let's jump into these here headlines.
Herbert Hoover, Secretary of Commerce in 1922, finds infant radio facilitates news gathering, as do many others in high public office.
Oh, yeah? Well, prove it.
Yeah, I didn't think infants were that into radio, but
infant radio.
K. Boughton 1 leads us off actually with some very sad news. Nintendo's president Satoru Iwata died last Saturday at the age of 55. He was fighting a bile duct growth. Iwata worked at HAL Laboratory in the 1980s, where he worked on many Nintendo games, Balloon Fight, Earthbound, even did some Pokemon work. He joined Nintendo directly as GM of corporate planning in 2000 and was appointed the 4th ever president of Nintendo in 2002 and the first not to come from the founding Yamauchi family.
So he is amazing on a lot of levels. My favorite, I will say in a second, but you mentioned Earthbound. He not so much just worked on it, he virtually saved that project from death. He swooped in while as president of this big company, or at least acting manager it may have been at the time. But
no, that's not Earthbound.
No, not that. But later on, when Pokemon, either Silver or Gold, one of the big Pokemon releases.
Wasn't it a Super Mario Smash Brothers or something?
Maybe. Well,
I think I know the story you're going to tell, so maybe I'm wrong.
Well, the one I'm thinking of is they were supposed to go to market with this thing. The compression they had on the cartridge for the DS didn't allow for as big a world as they wanted to have in this Pokemon game. And supposedly, him being a bit of a genius when it came to like compression code and development in general, kind of lowered himself to the ranks of let's get back in the trenches here, let me show you some things, and figured out a way to fit double the size of the world on that single cart so that they could launch that thing on time.
That's a different story.
Yeah, that's what's amazing about him, because you've got other stories.
The story I thought you were thinking of was how when he was GM of corporate planning, he jumped in to become acting head of code review on the GameCube version of Super Smash Brothers so that they could squash enough bugs to be able to hit the release date.
See, another one like that.
Yeah.
See, I thought you were going to tell the story where they made him into like a little claymation thing in that video. No?
No, but those are good too. Look, that's the other part I wanted to get to. So he was, by all accounts, a brilliant designer, programmer, and guy who would just get stuff done. Amazing kind of work ethic and all of that. That's what helped him rise up through the ranks from where he was to where he ended up, which was head of, maybe the most notorious, if not the biggest, Japanese gaming company of all time, if you don't count Sony. So it's a big deal to be where he is and how he got there. But what I love about him, as opposed to the who's the guy before? You just said his name.
The Yamauchi was one of the Yamauchi families. The
Yamauchi senior, who was 85 when he died. The one that that preceded him coming in there. He was very straight-laced and very kind of nose to the grindstone and wasn't very approachable, and it was very Japanese businessman kind of. The stereotype was alive and well with him. Iwata came in there and kind of just changed that. He became approachable. He was very sweet, very kind, and he seemed like the kind of guy that was willing to have a little fun at his own expense. Him staring at bananas in recent years, him making a puppet version of himself for the most recent E3 event video that they made. All of those things made him so endearing to the player base that it felt like Nintendo finally figured out a way to have the big, high-minded corporate structure of a big juggernaut, but then also this interfacing with people in a way that felt very personal, and that's very unusual. So claymation version of him, puppet version of him, it didn't seem to matter. That guy was approachable, and he was awesome, and he'll be missed for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, can I ask a question? Is it different in Japan for calling? Isn't this basically colon cancer, bile duct growth?
So he had a form of. My understanding is he had a form of cancer. It says right here,
right?
Illness and death. He had blah, 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 blah. Was removing a tumor from his bile duct, and this was it doesn't it says complications from the tumor. What what they're saying were the cause of death. They don't actually get into what kind of cancer it was. So it may have been. Non-cancerous.
Does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
I know it doesn't matter, but if you were in the U.S., I'm just saying difference in reporting. If it was the U.S. and there was
I don't think it's a difference in reporting. I think it's just a more specific way of identifying the type of cancer. Colon cancer is a very general term. Bile duct cancer, as I understand it, is just more specific. And in fact, according to cancer.org, the American Cancer Society page, bile duct cancer starts in the bile duct. To understand this cancer, it helps to know about the normal bile ducts. So it's actually not necessarily the colon. So maybe it's not colon cancer.
Well, he'll be missed. I love this quote here from composer and director Junichi Masuda. He's best known for his work on the Pokemon games. He tweeted this: "He was a man who understood Pokemon and a great leader. When I visited the other day, he was well. I will pray for his soul from the bottom of my heart." I love the translation. I like the simple message, and I really think he was cool, and I'm sad to see him go. And moreover, I don't know who they put in there. Like, there's no heir apparent right now.
No.
And that's an odd thing for Nintendo to be faced with. So there's going to be a bit of a
we had Chris Kohler from Wired on the show on Monday, and he was like, yeah, there's some speculation that it could be someone from outside. They might promote someone who's lesser known from internal. He seemed to think internal promotion was probably the way it would go, but nobody knows for sure. And there's a lot being said about Genyo Takeda and Shigeru Miyamoto continuing to retain their roles as representative directors, which kind of puts them in charge for now, but neither one of those people are likely to actually get the nod as president.
Yeah, neither one, I think, has any ambition for being the guy with the ultimate mantle like this.
Apparently Miyamoto has said flat out previously, not since the death, that he didn't really want to run the show.
Yeah, and they were close, and they were friends, and, it was like the perfect business-minded guy. It was the structure and the chaos, and the chaos was this brilliant designer, and it was like kind of a perfect combination. So it is the end of an era, man. It's going to be a weird thing moving forward.
Yeah, I was reading a bunch about different interviews with Iwata, and he had said that when he was at the HAL Labs, he saw Miyamoto as his nemesis. He wanted to like catch him. He wanted to supersede him. Like it was a goal. And then he's like, it's crazy how it ended up with me working with him, side by side to make all of this great stuff.
Yeah. Well, best of luck to those guys. They've got, Nintendo's at a weird place anyway. So this could be a lot of change for them moving forward. Be interesting to see.
Captain Kipper sent us the welcome news that cartoonist Berkeley Breathed published the first new Bloom County strip in 25 years this week. Actually, it's the first Bloom County in a long time. It's the first of any Breathed strip in 25 years. Bloom County ran from 1980 to 1999, back when newspapers still ruled the earth. And then the weekly follow-up Outland ran until 1995. The strip often skewered political figures like Ronald Reagan and, Donald Trump.
That
And
guy.
Breathed told a Facebook fan that he couldn't deny that Trump's political involvement had nothing to do with Bloom County's return.
All right, Dunaway, you're a huge comic strip fan. You have a show called Comics Coast to Coast, which talks about comic strips. How do you feel about his return?
I am so excited. He is personally one of my heroes from back in the day. I read the comics every day since I was old enough to read. Through the late 70s, I read a lot of Garfield, Jim Davis, and then I kind of graduated to Bloom County during the 80s, and he was a huge influence. I have Bloom County books where I've just taken and I just put notes everywhere. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's a genius. Look what he did here. Look at this writing style. Look at this beat frame. He was the first person I ever saw or studied that really had a beat frame, because he did 4 panels. And lots of times he used that third as a beat frame, and sometimes he would flip it around in the third and fourth panel. He just seemed like a brilliant writer to me, and a great illustrator, great cartoonist all around. And I was so excited seeing that Bloom County was returning, and I was even more excited when I read the first couple of strips and they didn't suck.
Yeah.
he still got it.
Yeah.
The only way you can consume this right now, though, is on Facebook. He is not going to go. Don't get too excited. He's not talking syndication. He's saying he's doing this as long as it's fun, and he's very informal. He's got a Wacom tablet, and he's drawing it and then posting it on Facebook. And so far, it's been a lot of fun. I don't know how long it's going to run. He's kind of teased that, maybe it'll run longer. Maybe it'll just last a week. Who knows? Because it seems like every strip that he's done so far this week, it could be the last one.
Yeah.
And it kind of has me on pins and needles.
Breathed's whole life mission is to live it by his terms, and he's never been one to live by the needs or wants of syndications or anybody else's schedule. So in a weird way, I'm kind of surprised that the web hasn't grabbed him earlier, because it feels like it was kind of made for him. He certainly doesn't need any money right now. He's doing fine. His books sold millions of copies, and he's just fine. But
you thought that about 50 Cent too, but look what happened to him.
Yeah, that's a good point. We thought he was just fine. That's a
We
nice.
thought he was.
And those two are so much alike.
I know, right?
Right. It's like,
Yeah, they're hip to hip
apples
at
and
every
apples.
party you ever see him in. But as comic creators in that era go, you got to put him, Gary Larson, Bill Watterson.
Bill Watterson.
I mean,
right.
and there's a great documentary moment, and I forgot the documentary. It may have been that recent. It may have been stripped, but he was quoted in there talking about his back and forth correspondence with Watterson.
Right,
and
right.
they would send mail to each other, not emails, but regular old mail. And the best part about it was the outside of the envelopes, they would each sort of take turns trying to one-up each other with art. So the envelopes themselves would have a bunch of doodles and stuff on it, and the next one would be even cooler, and the next one would try to beat the last one and maybe even directly reference the last one. And can you imagine having a stack of those? I mean, it would be the greatest treasure of all time.
I would love it. Brett probably has it as his house. Also, Bill Watterson came back for a cameo appearance earlier this year with Pearls Before Swine. Yep. Stefan Passis. So we're seeing like this resurgence of these creatives. I would love to see something from Gary Larson.
Oh yeah, I don't know what
Where
he's
you at,
doing.
man?
Yeah, what's up, Gary? Where's your
What you doing?
Where's your
He's
single
over on
panel with a anthropomorphized cow?
Well, you know
cat
where he is.
dog.
Where is he? He's on the far side. I get
Yes.
it.
I
Tom.
got his location joke.
Yeah.
I thought you were going with a cow joke, but missed it.
Nicely done.
Hey, let's talk about cord cutting. Even sports is not immune anymore, folks. Monsoon 315 at our subreddit. Did I mention our subreddit at currentgeek.reddit.com? Because I should mention our subreddit, because our subreddit is how we figure out what to talk about. And if you don't get in there and vote or submit articles, we don't have anything to talk about. Anyway, Monsoon 315 wanted us to talk about the news that ESPN is cutting costs. Although ESPN disputes the numbers reported by the Hollywood Reporter, they are cutting costs, and ESPN did lose 3.2 million subscribers in little more than a year, and its reach fell 7.2% in the U.S. since 2011. ESPN cost cable companies an estimated $6.04 per person, and if they were to try to run a standalone service on their own because of increased expenditures, because they wouldn't get subscriber money for people who never watch ESPN, it would probably cost them around $30 a month to charge people for an ESPN standalone service.
Yeah. Also, this is not necessarily related, but Colin Cowherd, who had ripped ESPN he worked there, and a couple of months ago had sort of ripped on his own company for showing the Heroes of the Storm tournament, that Heroes of the Dorm that they ran. And it was a big deal, and everybody was talking about it. And most people just chalked it up as, oh, he's always doing that. They're just trying to, have something to talk about on the radio. And it was on ESPN radios specifically. But apparently he's not there anymore. So he had said at the time, if he
You know where he is?
Where is he?
The far side.
Yeah, he's on the far side. But he basically said, look, if esports becomes a regular thing on TV, then I'll quit my job. But it turns out, I think some of this might actually be part.
The fact that he's no longer there mean that esports is now a regular thing on TV?
It doesn't. That's the problem.
Does it cause that to happen?
Yeah. So what I think is it's either part of this cost-cutting thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe he's just out. I mean, we don't know.
I'll be honest. So the theory is that Disney is looking at all the ads that ESPN has to sell in order to make enough money to afford the exorbitant rights fees that the leagues are charging, and saying, we need more cross-promotional inventory. We need to cut costs so you don't have to sell as many ads so we can cross-promote to other parts of Disney. That's the theory anyway. And if that's the case and you're looking around for people to fire to save some money, I mean, yeah, you look at Bill Simmons, that may be why he's gone. You look at Keith Olbermann, that may be why he's gone. But if you got some guy mouthing off, being unpopular, and basically assassinating your future audience that you're counting on, you get rid of him too.
Right, and your ratings were really good for that Heroes of the Storm thing, so I hope they keep doing it. But it's interesting because to me, it doesn't. Well, I don't know what the threshold is, but doesn't at some point this force the league's hands to not charge so much for licensing? Because after ESPN starts saying it's saying Uncle, who's left? Just the three networks?
I don't think so. Okay, think about it. What does MLB, NBA, NFL? What do they all do? They all run their own networks.
Oh, yeah.
They all run their own services where you can pay them directly for games. And the only reason you can't get your in-market teams is because they have deals with places like ESPN. So if ESPN doesn't want to finally pony up for the sports, the leagues will be too happy to take that back in-house and make that money directly.
Interesting.
But which one's going to fail? Because they can't all do it well.
Sure they can, as long as each sport has its fan base.
I vote MLB.
You think MLB will fail?
They're going to screw it up.
I don't know. They're the guys.
MLB is least likely to screw it up because they have been doing a network the longest. They actually employ the broadcasters. If the television rights went to MLB today, they would just charge you directly on the internet and you would never notice a difference.
Yeah.
It'd be the same broadcasters, same staff, same camera, everything. I mean, MLB's been the smartest at like roping everything inside so that they can just lift their spaceship off the ground and leave the networks behind.
And don't they also, they got their fingers in all these other pies. Like they're into, they're part of that HBO Now stuff. They're running the back end on that, or at least.
Good point. MLB Advanced Media, a separate company that is actually owned right now, majority owned by MLB, does the back end for WWE, for HBO Now, a lot of that. And there's talk that MLB might want to spin that off and not own it anymore.
Well, and it's either way, though, that's such a foot in the door of the exit, like you're saying. I hadn't even considered that, but you're absolutely right. But when it comes to like terrestrial folk who want to go, I want to see baseball this weekend. I don't know nothing about no internet. Like, that's where it gets a little screwy, right? That's
where you go, Grandpa, plug in the Roku, turn it on.
ESPN is made a deal with Sling TV to to be a part of that package. And now Disney is well, according to this article, is looking at backing out of that because they had an agreement in there said if they lost a certain amount, they would back out. And just today, I had I work as a tech support programmer where I work, and a guy asked me. He said, "I want to watch the European Open," and I said, "That's nice and all, but do you have like Sling TV or anything?" And he said, "No." And so then he was kind of perturbed that he couldn't watch it.
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, it's only $20. It's actually fairly cheap compared to what you have to pay if you get it through cable." Because I didn't know this either until I read this article. But ESPN is like what, $6.90 per person or something.
$6.04 per
4
person.
cents is a lot compared to even like HBO or other channels. What they do, like $1 something per subscriber.
About $1.50 on average.
Yeah.
Right.
Depending. Smaller networks are less. In fact, when I worked for Tech TV had to pay for carriage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because if you
Can
don't
we
have
be
the
on your
leverage,
network?
that's why all the networks are owned by bigger companies, and that's why Tech TV was sold. Was if you don't have leverage, you can't get on the networks. But if you are Disney and you own ESPN, you can say like, you're going to pay us for silly little network we just launched, or you don't get ESPN.
Yeah.
But that's changing.
Well, is it though? Because
Exactly.
NBC owns
So-
Sci-Fi and
Yeah,
USA.
well, that's
and,
the thing is that people are cutting the cords, and that's putting a little more leverage back in the cable company's hands.
Oh,
Brian's
I see
right.
what you're saying. Yeah, that's a good point. Also, I know you guys talked about this on cord cutters. We don't have to do it here, but I'm continually bothered that now that finally I'm starting to get kind of all the things I want from Showtime, HBO, and everybody else kind of in a piecemeal way. If I want 3 or 4 of them, I'm paying as much as I did for cable. And that's bugging me. Anyway.
Well,
Yeah,
just the
it's-
money.
What we've been talking about on Cord Killers for a while, cordkillers.com, if you want more of this kind of talk, is the fact that it's not so much about saving money. It's about controlling your money and being able to cancel and pick what you want to spend your money on.
Yeah.
So the difference is when you had cable, you had to sign up for HBO for a year, right?
Yeah.
And then you were stuck with it for a year. Right now, if you're like, you know what, I'm not really watching True Detective or enjoying it, and I'm just going to wait for Game of Thrones. I'll cancel it for a few months, then I'll come back to it.
Yeah. Actually, people are kind of down on the new
That
True
that
Detective.
evil you just said.
People
What, the
are-
last episode?
People aren't into it this season, man.
The previous episode was.
I haven't seen it
fantastic.
yet. I can't speak to it. I need to watch it. I've got it. I have HBO now. I just haven't had time to
You
catch
gotta
up.
watch. You gotta watch at least up to episode 3.
I love that first
4.
season, so I was kind of already in, but I'll give it a shot. I'm just surprised to hear so much negativity about it. Or people are just more like, what's happening? What are we doing? It feels like we're just spinning our wheels. Like, what are we doing?
It does feel a little bit like that.
All right.
Where we're going?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Let's move to space.
Yeah,
Captain Kipper submitted a
space.
story that the New Horizons probe, which was launched in January 2006, all week we've been seeing amazing pictures of Pluto and Charon and other moons being sent back to us. That probe runs on a 32-bit MIPS R3000 processor, the same processor from the PlayStation. And I mean
Oh,
the
you
PlayStation.
mean my PS4?
Not the PS4, not the PS3, not even the PS2, the original PlayStation processor.
Amazing.
That little gray box, that little
Yeah.
thing with the.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Launching that into space and then 9 years later getting pictures of Pluto.
I think that is one of my favorite side note. Actually, everything about the Pluto stuff has been amazing. And I should publicly get on my knees and thank Pluto for giving me the only viral tweet I've ever made in my life.
Made the papers.
Yeah, it was in
Did you make the
newspapers.
papers?
Yeah, science porn.
For those
reposted
who
it.
don't know, tell them about what you did.
It was dumb. All I did was, seriously, before TMS one morning, I went, that Pluto marking at the bottom of the planet kind of looks like Pluto himself. I'm gonna superimpose a picture of Pluto over there on one frame and just do 2 frames and say, hey, isn't it funny how Pluto, is the most throwaway, dumb thing. I did it in like 30 seconds, put it up, did a show, came back, and was already at like 10,000 retweets. I'm like, what is freaking happening? So when it kept going, Chris Hadfield retweeted it, Felicia Day retweeted it. Like, people I know were spreading around to their friends. Before you knew it, this thing was all over the place, showed up in a couple of local papers. It was weird, and I've never had that happen to anything I've ever tweeted in my life, and it taught me a lesson. I think Tom and I talked Wednesday about it briefly on DTNS, but you can't force viral. Sometimes it's the dumbest thing you think is just a breath in the air, and you don't even think about it. So don't try to make something viral. Just Live your life, and something will come out automatically.
My most popular tweet was when I realized that I could spell Star Wars with my left hand only.
Whoa, what?
I know. And I wrote that, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I just spelled it with my left hand. But everybody thought I meant, well, I was doing something with my other hand. And I was just like, no, it was interesting. And I didn't think nothing was going to happen with it.
Yeah, but now you're famous for it. Now we all know.
It's gross.
But anyway, back to the point. That is an awesome little tidbit. But the whole thing just seemed to set everybody on fire. Getting this close-up look of the planet, it basically reset virtually everything we thought we knew about Pluto, other than it existed, and we knew it had a moon, but we didn't know much about that. But we didn't know about all of these formations on the surface. It had previously been assumed it was relatively smooth and not a lot of activity from inside the planet. Now they're theorizing that there's probably some kind of activity, probably not volcanic, but something else with the ice or something that's happening that isn't from external sources hitting it. Like all kinds of things we never thought we knew, suddenly we know. And it just makes me want to know more. I love it.
Speaking of stuff that I don't know, I don't keep up with the planets. So are we back with Pluto being a planet?
Nope, still
dwarf planet.
Still dwarf, right?
King of the dwarf planets.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, it's just a dwarf planet.
It is a planet. It is a dwarf planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
But not a planetoid, right?
And no, it's not a planetoid.
All right.
It is actually the second largest dwarf planet.
Next to
Eris.
Oh, all right. See, Tom knows
by
stuff.
volume.
By volume.
Well, there you have it. Yeah, no.
So that's interesting. But the article,
maybe by mass.
right?
Yeah.
But to bring the article back around, the processor they used was from even then was an old processor, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right. They
even
launched
at
in
that point.
2006. This is the original PlayStation that came out in the early 90s.
Right.
Yeah,
weird.
That's amazing. Now, when they did that, they didn't go, dude, this PlayStation's rad. Take a chip out and put it in the thing. It's
no,
not
what
like
they do is when they launch these probes, they want to use materials that are tested, that are the least likely to have any issues. So they don't want to use cutting edge technology. They use older technology that has been run through the ringer, and they're like, we know this chip is solid and it will hold up. Let's go with that one.
Yeah.
How disappointed would they have been if they had to put a 360 in there?
A red ring of death before it got
red ring of probe going through space, flashing.
Yeah, I was gonna say my first PlayStation I got on launch day in 1996, was it 5? Whatever it was, I went and got it to software, etc. Took it home. It overheated and died, and I had to take it in and get another one. So I hope they didn't get one out of that batch. That's all I'm saying.
Eris is largest by mass. Pluto is largest by volume.
Got it. Both are very cold. So what I heard was that Pluto's ice, because they think there's water on the surface, the ice is so hard that it's harder than what we would call steel here, which is crazy to me. Like the molecular structure of that ice is not the same as we would have in a very cold place here.
I heard one commentator say, it's very cold.
Yeah, I bet it is. Space.
Hey, remember when the first Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice teaser trailer was leaked and everybody thought like, ugh, and then Warner Brothers was like, well, hold on, here's the authorized version, and everyone was still like, Deba Singe wants you to know that Warner released a new trailer, and now everybody's like, what? Wait a minute. Features the first official glimpse of Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, ogling what appears to be kryptonite, and most importantly, some necessary follow-up on all those buildings that Superman and Zod destroyed, one of which belonged to a pretty pissed off Bruce Wayne who can't get the insurance money for it, apparently. The trailer immediately launched a new Ben Affleck mad face meme as a bonus.
Thank goodness. I think the trailer looks great. I'm actually kind of excited about this movie. I'm a big fan of Frank Miller's Dark Knight, and I think that the Batman versus Superman mythos is something that should be explored and will be, and I'm excited about that, even though we kind of know the outcome. That's all good. Everything's great. I think it looks good. I'm happy to see all these different actors doing different stuff in it. I'm happy to get a very different looking Lex Luthor than we usually get. I think that's interesting. They're not, playing that same card again. And I hope, and the thing I'm most excited about the trailer, least excited about them showing a young Bruce Wayne watch his parents get shot again. We know, we know,
one more time.
Yeah, we know what happened there. But
they even showed it in the trailer.
They did. That concerns me. But other than that, they're holding Superman to account for thousands of deaths and a lot of destruction in that previous movie. My biggest problem with Man of Steel was this complete disregard for the humanity going on around them, which did not fit the Superman mythos. More than that, I didn't like his dad saying he should hide this, because his dad would never say that in the comics. He should say you should always save people. It doesn't matter what people think of you. That bothered me. And I don't like his mom in this new one saying nobody here owes you anything. It's just starting to feel like a little bit of a, it's a weird negative take, and I don't think it's true of the Kents. The Kents are pillars of parenting. They always were. They always will be. So you got to quit messing with that over there at WB and Warner Brothers. However, hang on, Brian. I'm gonna let you finish.
I'm gonna let you finish, Brian.
But I just want to say the very idea that they're going to take Superman and have him account for what happened and have him submit to some kind of justice for what he was part of is really good. And that makes me glad. And I really want to see this movie, and I hope it succeeds. And it's because I prefer to be disappointed in things I've seen, I am not going to prejudge this movie until I see it. I can't wait.
Right.
Brian.
I think in order for us to understand this Superman in this timeline and story, I think that his parents have to be a little bit of, don't worry about those people. You take care of you. I think that's necessary. So I'm okay with them being like that. What I'm not okay with, and this is probably just because they've already got the story written, but Kryptonite, really? Come on, just give me some magic this time. Superman's vulnerable to magic. Use that instead.
Is he? What magic is he vulnerable to? Who's he?
No, I would hate that.
You would hate magic?
Yes. No, I don't want magic.
You won't.
That's
you
a
want
cop-out. That's exactly the kind of thing that people will latch onto and go, oh, they just copped out and made it magic this time.
Yeah.
Like, I would hate that.
I think it'd be better than Kryptonite again.
You just
Kryptonite's
don't.
classic. Kryptonite is super. That's like saying, I wish Superman weren't so strong. Well, can we just make?
How about we keep him from getting the rays from the sun, because I like that take as well. If he's out of the sun's a bit, yeah.
They did some of that in the first one, a little bit. Yeah, he charged up pretty good when he got in the sun.
I mean, it's not max damage. Where he, if he takes a nap, he loses all his strength.
Sure.
But still, it's something.
Yeah, if you're playing heroes, you got to go get a drink once in a while, if you know what I'm saying out there, players. But yeah, it's got potential, and say what you want about Zack Snyder or his record.
I was making an Incorruptible comic reference. You were making a Heroes of the Storm reference.
I sure was.
Our streams just crossed. That's funny.
It's just a big, wide net we cast.
That's why we call it Current Geek.
That's right. Carrot cake.
Currently Geek.
There you go.
Hey, Super Eyes Truck, which I feel like I must always say like that, noted that Mozilla blocked all versions of Flash earlier this week, starting on Monday night as a result of multiple zero-day vulnerabilities. Now, Adobe did release a new version of Flash that fixed the vulnerabilities, and then Firefox did not block that. But the Firefox were laughing hysterically. And we got one emailer who said that the advertising agencies took that as a kick in the pants to just start pushing out their HTML5 ads instead of Flash ads.
Well, it's funny that has that effect, right? When a lot of users are sort of forced to think about something or do something different, or at the very least they had to choose whether they wanted to allow it or not, because it blocked them, but it gave you a message. I use Firefox now exclusively, and it said, we're blocking a harmful plugin called Flash.
May have heard of it.
Yeah, do you want to enable it or not here? And you could say the one time only or whatever, or all that stuff. But that probably scared everybody a little bit. But having moved primarily to Firefox in recent months for other reasons, and not this, I was kind of glad to see that happen. You don't necessarily want your browser company telling you what you should or shouldn't see at any given time. But when there's a true and actual vulnerability out there, it was kind of nice of them to step in and do that, because a lot of people wouldn't have known. I hadn't heard the news when I saw the error before I saw the news. So, yeah. Also, everyone's calling for Flash to go away, finally. Like, is this the death knell, Tom? You're the tech expert.
Yeah. No, this is, I mean, it's not going to be gone tomorrow, but people are getting serious about it. And Adobe has other things that they can rely on. I think they've even started to realize it's time to phase it out. So yeah, and Chrome has set a date for later this year, and I can't remember it off the top of my head, for advertisers to not have Flash ads, after which Chrome may not support it anymore. So by this time next year, I would say we probably won't see Flash very often, if at all.
Plus, Chrome's is built in or something. Brian, you like animation though. What do you think animators are going to do?
Oh, that's easy. I mean, there's other options. I mean, we've pretty much gotten away from that. I don't think not a lot of animators do Flash direct through their browser. Lots of times it's just rendered. They'll go ahead and render it out and put it to YouTube and that kind of stuff, Vimeo. I say while we're kicking Flash out of the bid, let's go ahead and kick Java out too.
Sure.
Java,
Java.
I don't know.
Not so sure about that one.
I have mixed feelings about that one. Not JavaScript. A lot of people get confused. We're not talking about JavaScript. We're talking about Java.
Yeah.
There are some reasons for Java, but it certainly shouldn't be default installed anywhere.
Yeah, the one default or the one argument that seems to exist in abundance is that Minecraft is built on Java, but that may be changing with Microsoft.
Yeah, that could
But that's fine. That's standalone. I'm talking about in the browser.
Yeah.
I agree that it shouldn't be in the browser unless you specifically want it there for whatever reason.
It is a little weird that Chrome and Google have their own Flash build in Chrome, as opposed to getting whatever the latest thing is. Because at the time of that happening, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought it was the way it went down is Firefox is like, we're blocking this. And Chrome's like, oh, that's not our version because our version's our own internal one that we work out with Adobe.
You can and sometimes have to install Flash in Chrome anyway. So what they were saying was, we're not going to block it because our default install is our own version of Flash, which is secure. If you have installed Flash yourself as a plugin in Chrome, that's your own lookout.
Gotcha.
Suck up.
Oh, by the way, Star Fury Zeta wanted you to know that scientists have probably discovered a new form of matter.
Probably.
Shut up.
Scientists at the Large Hadron Collider announced evidence of a new particle called the pentaquark, which was first predicted in the 1960s. Scientists studied the way a subatomic particle called lambda B decayed into 3 other particles inside the Large Hadron Collider. And they thought they've seen evidence of a pentaquark before, and every time it turns out they have it. But this time they have 5 different viewpoints on it, and they have concluded, still needs to be reviewed and all that, but they have concluded that the signals during the decay could only be explained by pentaquarks, which are a configuration of 4 quarks and 1 antiquark. So a total of 5 Ferengi. If I have my quantum mechanics
you
right.
took my joke. I was going to say, I looked this up on Wikipedia, and it says it's a 10-sided Ferengi.
There is still no evidence of Ant-Man.
So the scientists just wiping their hands going, there, we did it.
Yep.
We've been talking about it since the 60s.
Yeah.
There it is. Look at it. 5 different ways.
Yep, there's your pentaquark.
Actually, what they are doing, Brian, is like, there, we did it. Please don't prove us wrong. Please don't prove us wrong. Please don't prove us wrong.
Tom, and I don't...
Because they are very confident about it this time, but there have been like 3 or 4 other times when people thought they had found a pentaquark.
I'm getting my own collider next year, but before all that happens, I have a question. Is the current working theory that there is no end to how small we go? Like, meaning that there is no ultimate, because they've found another one here. There's no ultimate quark or piece of thing or element or atom or piece of an atom or whatever that's so...
I don't know that plays into this.
Right.
Quarks are the things that make up other subatomic particles, right? So protons are made of quarks.
Right.
What they have found is a new assemblage of quarks, not a smaller than a quark.
An entire 10 forward full of quarks. Got it.
But at the other, but there are still theories that potentially there may be things that quarks are made of, and the whole. And I'm talking way out of my expertise here. I'm talking out of I think I remember reading this in the Scientific American once, sort of arena. But
1968.
But they are saying that the attempts to unify gravity and quantum mechanics are the areas in which people are saying, well, what if we find that quarks are made up of this, and there's superstring theory and 11-dimensional M theory and all this kind of stuff.
Wow. See, I knew if I asked you, you'd have weird stuff like that to tell me.
So how does this
make up words at this point? Right. It probably sound convincing.
How does it affect my purchasing of a McRib? Is this going to affect that at all?
Negatively.
Well, a McRib can exist and not exist in superposition until McDonald's collapses it into a special limited time promotion.
Yeah. Right. And also, it's not real ribs, just so you know. Just so you know. All right. That means
the ingredients.
It's time for this.
America scores and wins.
Okay. As Brian knows, we have a portion of the show we call the pop quiz, and he's our only guest today, so he's the only one going to be subjected to it. It's where we ask you a series of questions in an area of our expertise. Actually kind of fudge this a little. Usually I surprise people, but I asked you kind of what a thing you were interested in. I'm not sure you remember telling me this or not.
I was pretty drunk.
Yeah, you seemed like it. So here's his questions. It is all about breakfast cereals. Specifically the kind we all, wanted as kids, or our friends only got and we didn't, or, kind of that whole era.
Right. They're real big. Yeah.
Yeah. They're not small. No. Okay? If you get one right, you hear this. If you get it wrong, you hear this. Tom will score it up, and by the end, you'll know how you did. Are you ready?
Well, wait. There's two people. Am I just by myself?
Just on your own. You'll compete with yourself, yeah.
I'm actually going to time your answers, so you're against the clock.
Holy shit, I hate the clock. All right, here you go, Brian. First question. Right. Pink dyes were used in Frankenberry cereal, which led to what condition?
It's not pink eye, so it must be colon runnies.
All right, you are so close. I feel like Tom may have to decide this. Technically, the answer here, I'll do this.
Red
one.
dye number 5. You had to get rid of it, right?
Here, hold on. I'll give it both until Tom makes a decision. Frankenberry stool, it was referred to, resulted in pink poop due to the dye that got used. Tom, what's your decision? Your judge.
Well, you have to weigh in the intentionality.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a clear feeling that Brian was casting around for the right phrase. So he's going to get 0.1.
All right, fair enough.
Right.
This is why we go to you. So there's big fat 0 on that one. All right, number 7, or next question, rather. What is the name of the cartoon frog on Kellogg's Honey Smacks?
Honey Smacks, that would be Mr. Diggum.
Oh, my gosh. Look at you, dude. You really do know these things.
I dig them.
I wouldn't have remembered that.
They're great.
Those were good, except they stuck to everything. What WWF wrestler showed up in a honeycomb commercial in the 1980s?
Please, so easy. I mean, this is a honeycomb commercial, and they are great big, just like Andre the Giant.
Very nice. Any bonus for his theatrical way of answering, or
he would have if he had answered faster.
Sorry, that's right. It's against the clock.
Yeah, the clock. All right. Next up, how many nephews does Toucan Sam have?
He has 3.
Oh.
Because
all right.
2, 3.
No,
3.
go ahead.
Yes.
Keep going.
3. Do I got to name them?
You got it right. But if you want to name them, we'll give you bonus points.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's Pooey, Susie, and Lewis.
Pooey?
Pooey, P-U-E-Y. Pooey.
Not a good name.
Or is that Pewey? I don't know.
Huey, like Huey,
either
Dewey,
way.
and Louie.
Yeah, they changed it. It was basically Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
That's exactly what it was.
Nice job, though. All right, next. What company manufactured the Nintendo cereal?
Ooh, would that be Post?
You are wrong. It was the Ralston Cereals Corporation.
Ralston Purita.
Yep, they make dog food. You're absolutely right.
Are you serious?
Yep, for
Disgusting.
real.
At the Checkerdome.
What is the name of the dog on the Cookie Crisp?
Oh crap! That's a good question.
I hated that
never
cereal.
answered.
Sugar Bomb, man.
Cookie Crisp. Ralph.
You are wrong. It is Chip the Cookie Dog. Cookie Hound.
Cookie Dog, is that right?
Yeah, Chip. Like chocolate chip. He's like a little
That makes
chip.
sense.
I'll name my next dog that.
It's not bad. General Mills makes the monster-themed cereals. We talked about Frankenberry earlier. There are 2 that were discontinued long ago, but were briefly revived. What were these 2 discontinued cereals?
Well, they had Blueberry for a while, then took it out the market, then they brought it back. So that's a good question. Count Chocula, he's always been here, so I'm not sure. But those are the only 2 that I'm really aware of. Maybe there's some kind of banana flavor.
Well, let's give you a...
That'd be disgusting.
It is Fruit Brute.
Fruit Brute.
And fruity Yummy Mummy.
Oh, the Fruity Yummy Mummy. I do remember him.
I don't remember Fruity Yummy Mummy, but I do remember Fruit
My mom
Brute.
would never buy Fruity Yummy Mummy because she didn't like the mummy.
Really?
She thought it was ugly, and she would always be. I'd be like, "Can we get the mummy?" And she'd be like, "No, wouldn't you rather have Count Chocula?" And then I'd think about it and go, "Actually, yeah. I just like the mummy, but I know I like the chocolate cereal better."
And then she'd say,
I like the
Tommy,
blueberry
get
best.
back in the cart, Tommy. Hold still. Keep your
She
hand.
couldn't remember my name.
Final question, Brian. Here you go. This is a rough one.
Right.
What are the mascots for Rice Krispies? Their names.
Snap, Crackle, and Pop.
You are correct. You get bonus points if you know any of these foreign versions. And if you just say no, I'll move to the next one. Swedish.
No.
Piff, Paff, and Puff. German.
It's got to be Puffs. I don't know.
Knisper, Knasper, and Grusper. Mexican.
Mexican? Is that a thing?
Yeah,
Can you
well,
say
in
it?
Mexico, the Mexican, yeah. We're not,
Yeah, something
I
from
don't know.
Mexico is Mexican.
Yeah, it's
It's
Mexican.
okay
Tell
to
me.
say that.
yeah, it's all
You
right.
have to tell me.
People have trouble with that. It's Pim, Pam, and Pum.
Pim, pom,
Did not know
pom.
that.
Pum. Finish.
It might finish. I have no idea.
This sounds like a thing you'd have. You need to see a doctor for. Ricks, racks, and pox.
I got all three, Doc.
Yep, all three.
What do
buddy.
I do?
Canadian French, French Canadian.
Oh, Quebecois.
Le pop, I don't know.
Crick, crack, and crock.
Crick, crack, and crock.
2 more. Dutch.
Oh my gosh, they're everywhere. Yeah, I don't know that
Dutch is just like the Swedish, except it's piff, paff, and poff. Also, 1 less F on each word.
one. Oh, piff, puff.
Afrikaans.
Africans.
Africa represent.
Yeah.
Crunch, and I don't know.
And crunchier? Nope, it's
Crunchier.
nap, netter, and knack. So there you go.
Makes sense.
Those were fun. Brian, you did well. Nicely done. Let's see how you did in the scoreboard. Tom, how did you do?
Well, just for exhibition purposes, you were racing the clock. I don't know how you determined whether you beat the clock, but it took you a total of 1 minute, 0.51 seconds. Almost
102.
a minute and 1 second to answer. Total.
Total? Like you you didn't count my
But
asking
the end
time.
of your question till when he was done answing.
Oh, good. Okay.
It was a total of a minute.
That's not bad.
And you got 4.1 right.
Wow, that's not
Yeah!
bad, Brian.
Ding, ding, ding,
ding,
ding,
ding,
ding.
Whoops. There you go. That's what I meant to do. Congratulations. You win nothing. That's too bad. But here's this.
The future promises even more startling things to come.
Here, how about this? Scott, how about this? Brian Dedaway, 4.1.
I don't believe what I just saw.
Perfect, dude. That was perfect.
All right.
All right. This
Does that make you feel better, Brian?
Yeah, it should.
A little bit.
This is forecast. That's a part of the show. What used to be a whole show, now it's a segment, and it's about us predicting the future. And Brian popped in with one about drone wars. I want you to explain. What is happening with drone wars by 2017? That's awful soon, dude.
Well, they're already here. We have drones. We have people that are angry about drones. It's just a matter of time before we either do one of two things. We turn it into a BattleBot show on Comedy Central, or maybe real life happens and it just gets really ugly. Anti-drone technology is on its way if it's not here already.
Okay, so there's a video floating around the internet. Also, interesting choice, Comedy Central, for that, I think.
Well, they did the
They did the BattleBots.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought that was Discovery.
The new ones are on.
It was on Tech
CBS?
TV for a while, too, but it hopped all over the place.
I didn't know that. Okay, well, that's interesting. All right. So there's a video floating around of 2 guys with no shirts on, running around.
How does this have to do anything with clone?
Well, I
All right,
should
but-
finish. I better finish because it sounds weird so far. There's no context yet. So what they did is they set aloft 2 of those drones that will follow you, the GPS ones.
Right.
And they follow these 2 guys, and while they're doing it, they have lit Roman candles, good ones, that are firing directly in the eye view, the camera eye view, and where it should be hovering to follow you. It's firing exactly at that trajectory. So they fire these two things up. They're assigned to each of these human beings. These 2 human beings run, and then these drones come behind them with these Roman candles. And I'm not kidding you. I thought this was going to be stupid and not work at all. They nailed these guys constantly. Bap, 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 in the back of their backs with big old sparks, and they were like flipping out and trying to dodge and weave and stuff, and they couldn't do it. So I guess what I'm saying is that seems to support your thesis.
Well, I mean, drones are getting to the point that almost anyone can afford them. They're very inexpensive. I just don't see why there's not people doing more aggressive things with them. I mean, the fireworks thing is pretty aggressive. That's pretty bad.
Yeah. But more of a BattleBots thing. Because when I first read this, I thought, oh, well, Brian's getting real dark here. We're going to, all future warfare will be fought with drones.
Yeah, right.
But-
That's already happened.
yeah, I guess
Yeah, that's not a prediction.
It's already sort of happening. But you meant more like, for our entertainment.
Oh, yes. Definitely always for our entertainment first.
Okay. I
I found this place in Tempe, Arizona called DroneWarsFPV.com that is attempting to become the professional circuit for drone competitions.
I'm in.
So all they need to make Brian's prediction come true is a TV contract,
Oh, my gosh.
Right.
possibly
and
with ESPN.
Yeah.
and some Roman candles.
I'll quit if this network starts having drones fight. Brah. I think that's a brilliant
Come into
idea.
frog pants.
Brian can but sometimes we have outrageous predictions here. This is one I would totally watch. I would tune in every time to see people build these. Like, just do it like BattleBots. You've already got your template, but make them fly.
Oh, it's easy.
Yeah,
exactly. The only thing I couldn't think of, I was like, the only thing is it takes such a wide area, whereas BattleBots is kind of all contained within, and they got the big bulletproof shielding around the bots so they don't fly off with the saws into the stands and kill people, which would be even better. But yeah, not for the people, not so much.
Not so much.
But yeah, it had to be a really big area.
Yeah,
but I think they'll figure it out.
That's so funny. My brain went right to the evil uses, and you were just thinking, "Oh, this would be fun on Discovery at 10 o'clock at night on a weekend." All right, well, there you go. DroneWarsFPV.com is the place Tom found, and people should check that out if they want to find more. We have some feedback this week, an email from somebody named Shankara Stone. I doubt it's really his name, he or she, or her. Yeah,
I bet it is.
Did you hear about Adam Savage's replica Shankara Stones got taken at? I wonder if they got returned yet. I haven't heard a follow-up. But so he put up a tweet with a photo saying, these were at our party we threw, and someone walked out with them, and we really want them. So they're very hard to make and very rare. So please, somebody, but whatever. And I haven't heard any follow-up whether he got them back or not. That sucks,
Maybe
right?
he should check with Harrison Ford.
Yeah. He basically got on screen and said, bring back to us. Bring back to us. All right, here's the email. We got an email. This is from Shankara Stone, who says, hey there, geeks who are current. How come we don't... Oh, this is a great question for today's news. I honestly did not mean this to match up with the news today. I promise. How come we don't have any more morning paper comic superstars anymore? No more Bill Watterson, no more Breathed, no more Gary Larson. Oh my gosh, the three guys we talked about. Have newspapers dipped so low in our culture that we've run out of strip heroes? Thanks for your awesome show. Shankara Stone.
Let me tell you, can I?
Yeah, please, because this is perfect for you. You love this stuff.
There are people of the caliber and talent of those cartoonists, but there's not enough universal consumption and water cooler talk and hanging these things on refrigerators that there were during the 80s and the 90s. So the talent is there. Just our appreciation of it is just not there anymore.
Well, how come
we are so fractured.
Why are they not breakout stars though? I mean, it happens online a little bit. You could argue that the penny arcade guys are big in their sphere, and so it can happen there. It happens with podcasters and video producers and different things and different levels of that. But I just feel like newspaper strips, you just never hear anybody going, "Oh, I always make sure to read so and so." And most of that stuff is available online as well, either through the syndicates or their own sites. So why is it that we're not hearing a name that's just the guy is totally keyed on our culture and he has great commentary and his characters are just, bottomless pits of wonderfulness? Like, why don't we have a modern day Peanuts anymore? What's going on with that?
It's just the whole culture is just so fractured right now, which is great because we have, everybody goes to their little area and they enjoy it. But as far as crossing over stuff, I mean, it's become so difficult to have water cooler talk with anybody at this point. Between time shifting almost all entertainment, it's just really hard to go in to work and have conversations about any entertainment without going, am I going to screw this up for somebody?
Tom, do you think there's anything to the idea that it's because papers have gone less, whatever? They're not.
This is interesting for me because I get to come at this the way people sometimes come to me about technology news. I don't follow the comic culture. I'm just an outsider and a consumer. And when I was growing up, I religiously read Peanuts, Garfield, Ziggy, Doonesbury, Bloom County,
BC.
Calvin and Hobbes.
Did you read BC? I love BC.
I read BC, yeah.
Wizard of Oz.
Beetle Bailey,
yeah.
All that stuff, right? The things I did when the St. Louis Post-Dispatch came every morning when I was eaten by Count Chocula was I would read the front page, sports page, and the comics.
Yeah.
And so today I look at it and my immediate reaction is like, what are you talking about? In my personal sample of one, I have replaced that with XKCD, Wondermark, Scenes from a Multiverse, Penny Arcade, and Extra Life.
Yay!
Those are right there in my RSS feed, and I read them every morning. I actually read user-friendly, too, although Iliad had stopped doing it a while back. But he continues to rerun his comics, and I like to kind of relive them.
Sure.
It's kind of like classic Peanuts, right?
Right.
So to me, it's like, well, no, It's just not printed out on a piece of paper anymore because I don't read my news that way either. But I look at the Weather Channel app, and then I look at the BBC News app, and then I read my feeds, and I read my comics. It's all the same thing.
Then that probably answers this guy's question. The stars you're looking for, the strip heroes, as he refers to them, have moved to the internet or are there and started there, and that's where they live now, and that's where they're coming from now. Or even in Breathitt's case, that's where he's goofing with us now. Like he's not. This isn't a paper that we're all finding. Ooh, New Bloom County, everybody in the paper today.
No, but when Brian was talking, it did make me realize that that's me. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, XKCD maybe, like you said, Penny Arcade maybe, but I don't know many other people who talk about, hey, did you see the latest comic from the X?
The oatmeal.
And even the XKCD and Penny Arcade, that's a slice. That's the geek slice.
Sure.
Not, my next door neighbor who, when I go to watch her cats is not going to say like, hey, did you read XKCD today? The way there isn't a Garfield or a Peanuts the way there used to be.
Yeah, I guess the people that cared about what was in the paper when we were kids, us, are still caring about where the best work is. It's just happening online. So,
and is that any different than the fact that there isn't a, hey, did you watch Gilligan's Island last night?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Like we all, like my wife's watching Daredevil finally. I already watched it. You guys watched it at a different time, and not everybody watches it because not everybody has Netflix. Like everything, again, Brian totally nailed it. Everything is fragmented.
Yeah. I mean, go ask Nick or have Nick walk in the room, my son, and say what he's into right now. And he'll say, oh, did you see the latest Rhett and Link video? Or did you see the latest, PewDiePie, him playing that horror game? Like it's very different world than me walking in saying, you guys see H&R Puffin stuff last week? Because, man. or, Land of the Lost. They almost.
The great space coaster.
You see those zippers on the slee stacks? Those were amazing.
Hong Kong Phooey.
Yeah. Tom, anytime Tom can sneak that cartoon in, he does.
I love it.
He loved that freaking thing. He loved that thing. Anyway. I didn't expect to get so much discussion out of an email, but that's an awesome email, Shane Carostone.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And if you want to send your own and make them also that good, you can. There, fine listeners. CurrentGeek@gmail.com is the email address. No one ever dares do this. I don't know why on this show. They do on every other show I do, but if you want to leave a voicemail, you can. 801-471-0462. We'll play it on the show. Make it short and interesting, and there you have it. Brian Dunaway. Oh, man, what a pleasure it has been to have you back on the show. Always fun, dude.
It's a blast. I've got to catch up with Brian Ibbett.
Yeah, you got to catch up. We'll get you on more than him. We'll create a false sense of competition out of it.
Right.
It's not a problem. Tell people where they can find you, what you're up to now, and what's going on.
Absolutely. You can follow everything I do at briandunaway.com. But specifically, we just got through recording Comics Coast to Coast. Latest episode. Great show. We set up a Patreon page as well. So check out comicscoasttocoast.com.
Very nice. Very nice.
Like it.
Tom?
Plus, we do Film Sack, me and you.
Oh, yeah. We're doing that tomorrow morning, in fact. What are we doing this week? Paycheck.
Paycheck with Ben Affleck and some other people.
Yeah, Aaron Eckhart. John Woo film. Not very good, but we're going to watch it. And
wow,
do it for
a
Film
bad
Sack.
John Woo film.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, and then for Film Sack Nerdtacular, for those who are not aware, is going to be the 1989's Dolph Lundgren Punisher movie. So that's going to be
feel punished.
That's going to be hell in a basket right there. So watch for that. All that stuff coming up. Brian, always a pleasure, man.
Thank you, Scott. And happy birthday.
Thanks, dude.
Time.
Oh, yeah, it's my birthday today.
Yeah, happy birthday, man.
Oh, thanks.
I'm glad you was born.
Me too. You're
worked out well
just
for
glad
us.
because we're only the same age for like 2 weeks, and then I'm older than
yeah,
you.
it's good to be younger again.
Good to be so young again. All right, Tom, do you got anything hanging out there we want to talk about?
Oh, sure, folks. Go to dailytechnewsshow.com/store, especially if you're headed to Nerdtacular, because we not only have dailytechnewsshow.com merchandise, we got mugs and stuff to go along with it, but there's a special Nerdtacular shirt there. It's Daily Tech News Show on the front. On the back, it spells out Nerdtacular, and it has all of our contributors' names, including Scott and Veronica and Jenny and everybody, in a design that Jenny made up, and Sebgon's like polished up and prettified, and it's available for you to buy. And if you're going to Nerdtacular, you can use the code 2SIDES and get free shipping. In other words, you don't pay shipping, you just pick it up at Nerdtacular.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That makes sense.
So show up, come up, be there, get it. What else? Oh, good news, everybody. We added a hardcover edition to the My Extra Life compendium book, speaking of comics. Boy,
I leaped on that.
Nice comics-heavy episode, I think, today. So we'll finish it off by saying if you like my comic, Extra Life, over at myextralife.com, and you've read it for the last 14 and a half years, well, then you might like this book that's coming. You can go to myextralife.com/book, and you can either upgrade to the levels that have the hardbound edition, or you can get in on the softbound stuff. That's all still there. Lots of great levels, lots of cool stuff.
I can't tell you how excited I was when I saw that you were doing hardback.
That makes me glad. We were not that we weren't sure, but when we did it, or we decided to do it, it was kind of like, it's a big cost to us, and we're just not sure if people really want it, if they'd appreciate it, and turns out they totally do. So I should have checked with you first. I would have been much more confident. But it's working out great, and if you would like one, now's your chance. That's, again, myextralife.com/book. Big thanks to Andrew Allen, who does our theme music. Big thanks to, everybody who is involved with the show. Find us on the internet, CurrentGeek.com. We're also at CurrentGeek.reddit.com, at CurrentGeek on Twitter, Scott Johnson, Ace Detect, the Brian Dunaway. That's going to do it for us, for me, for Tom, and for Brian. We'll see you next time.
Tom Merritt.
That's awesome. I want them to do me one. Who are they?
I don't even, you know what? I wonder if they're still doing their show. They were friends of Father Robert. They're Canadian. They were involved in the No Agenda network somehow.
Maybe I'll talk to
Scott Johnson.
I'll talk to Rob.
Tom Merritt.
Oh, come on, Scott. Me and you could do that.
Could we do it? I don't know that
totally.
we have the skill to do that.
We could do it. We could do it poorly. Oh yeah.
We could do it poorly. Oh well, that I agree with. We could totally do it.
You just multi-track it enough. It's like It's like poor man's auto-tune.
Right. It sounds like you're harmonizing. Just shift your voice a little bit.
Brian, I don't know what it is, but whenever you're around on a show, it just makes me feel good. So we really appreciate you being on.
You're a good egg, Brian Dunaway.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks you, Tom. You the best.
Oh, man.
You guys make it fun.
Yeah, it did pretty good.
Let's just book Brian every week.
Yeah, Brian will be our new third chair. We'll just bring in once in a while another guest. We'll bring Jenny in. There's our panel. We're done.
It's better than my other idea, which was to call it Current Greek and only book Greek people.
Yeah, complaining about their economy collapsing.
About their lack of capital, or their over capital
of all money. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Everyone have a great weekend. Tom, Brian, stay out of trouble, eat your vittles, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Bye.
Bye now. Thanks, everybody. You're all wonderful people. Talk to you.